Hello, welcome to another episode of Scara's Screamcast. My name is Scara, Damsel of the Doomed, and I'll be your witch and your horror host this episode and every episode. It's just me today, but it is my hopes that our very next episode on Wednesday this coming week, I will have a guest. We have the setup now, and if you're watching, you can see that we are in 4K. HG. I don't know how else to say it. I'm crystal clear now. And when I make clips of this later, it'll look way better, which is great. You know, little clips online will look better than what they have been using. Oh, and right now I'm getting the producers bringing over the iPad because I've got you on. I got YouTube Live going. So, ooh, look, it's infinity. It's infinity. I can see your comments, okay? Who's watching? Say hello in the YouTube stream if you're watching so I can say hi back. Oh, I got to plug this in. I've got all sorts. Hang on, boys. Hang on, boys. I got all sorts of issues going on here. Who watched the Oscars? Anybody? I haven't watched the Oscars in about a bajillion years. I used to always watch them. I would, make a big bowl of snacks, popcorn and whatever. You know, it's good putting Reese's peanut. What are those Reese's Pieces? Yeah, put some Reese's Pieces in some popcorn. Boy, that's delish. I can't eat that stuff anymore, but I used to. And I used to drink wine and watch the Oscars. I can't drink wine anymore either. But I don't watch the Oscars anymore. I just watch the clips later. I don't sit through the whole broadcast, but I used to, and I really used to like watching it for the fashion, and I love movies of all kinds, not just horror. I love all sorts of movies. But I was happy to hear about how well horror movies did for the first time in ever at the Oscars. There have been, I think, 7 horror movies that have been nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars starting in 1973. And I think the Oscars has been going on since the 20s. So it took quite a while. And of course, The Exorcist was the first one in 1973 to get nominations for Best Picture. And then it was Jaws, and then it was Silence of the Lambs in 1991, and that one actually won Best Picture. Then it was The Sixth Sense, and then Black Swan, which I guess that's considered a horror movie. I guess. And then The Substance last year, which I believe was robbed. I really thought that Best Picture, maybe. But I think Demi Moore should have had one Best Actress for that. And then we had Sinners this year. And of course, they won. They were up for like 16 nominations, Sinners was. And they won 4 of them. I think it was Best Score, Best Writing, Best Original Screenplay, I guess is what they call it. Best Actor, and Cinematography. And Cinematography Award for Sinners. I think it's the first time a woman cinematographer won that award. I wish I would have written her name down, but that makes me extremely happy. Like, I am in Austin, Texas, and I know a lot of indie film crew people, and I know 0 female cinematographers here, or DPs. 0. I only know, and I know women crew members. I just don't know any of them that are cam ops or anything like that. So it's really great to see when a woman does something like that, and then when she does it so well, she wins an award. And you cannot deny the cinematography of that movie was top notch. You can't deny it. Here's why it's important for people, for women, to be able to do things like that, to be able to direct a movie and to direct photography of a movie, because it really puts the art through the filter of that person. And a lot of the times, for a long time, the female perspective was just not presented. And you could say the same thing for people of color. So it's cool that she won that award. Now, the other nominations for horror at the Oscar, I think Frankenstein was up for a bunch of like production design and costumes and hair and makeup. And then, of course, Weapons. Amy Madigan won Best Supporting Actress for her role as Aunt Gladys. The last time somebody won that for a horror movie was, again, back in 1973. And I'm not going to remember the actress's name off the top of my head, but she was she was one of the old lady neighbors and who was a witch in The Exorcist. No, in Rosemary's Baby. So that wasn't 73. When was that? 74? I can't remember. Anyway, I love me some Rosemary's Baby. So I think, and everybody says this when we talk about Oscars and horror movies. Hereditary, when did that come out? Like 2019, 2018 or 19? I am so shocked that Toni Collette did not get Best Actress for that movie. And I wish we could retroactively go back and give it to her. Why doesn't horror get more nominations? I think it's a few things. One, horror movies were basically, for the longest time in Hollywood, back in, when Hollywood was formed, horror movies became genre films and B movies. So these production companies would make, these very serious films. They would make dramas or comedies or love stories or whatever. And then they would sell them to the different theater houses. And then they would also sell B movies that were made for a much smaller budget. And they were cheaper and to distribute and all of that. And so they're just kind of like the leftover, like, oh, buy Casablanca and get, shitty old Dracula or whatever, I don't think those came out the same year. But so because of that, it just got a bad rep. So I think that's one reason. And Hollywood has just been snobby about it for a long time. And the other is horror is a large genre. It's not like, you have movies that are, that you could say, oh, well, that's just a dramatic movie. That's a drama. But horror, there's slashers, there's splatter horror, there's, demonic horror, there's body horror, like The Substance. There's all kinds of horror. And nobody is trying to nominate Freddy versus Jason at the Oscars, right? So you have movies like that alongside movies like Nosferatu or Sinners or things like that. And, and you could say that really about any genre, but I think with horror, it's really, really like that. And the last thing I want to say about this is it's undeniable at this point, I think, that horror movies are profitable. They are, and I'm about to talk about this with a movie I saw last week. You can make, there are horror movies that can be made for a micro budget that can make millions of dollars for $500,000 to produce, right? And horror can hit on it. It's often been used to really hit on what's going on in society and what's going on in the world, and kind of shine a flashlight on things that are normally in the dark or show things in a different way. That's what art does. It brings something to the forefront that's going on that everybody experiences, or something that new going on in the zeitgeist. And horror has just always been very good about that. Think about Night of the Living Dead, okay? It's always been very good at that. And it's undeniable now that horror is one of the most profitable genres out there. And it's undeniable that horror movies can be elevated and can be masterful works of art that are moving, that tell amazing stories that make us feel something. And that's what art should do. It should make you feel something. Now, don't get me wrong. I still like a good slasher. I still like a good ridiculous horror movie, but I also love horror movies that tell a good story. Speaking of that, hello, chat. Hello, chat. Say hello if you're in there. Speaking of good horror movies, I saw Undertone last week with my buddy Tony. Hey, yo, Tony. And I really enjoyed that movie. Let's see. Let's practice some camera switches. Look. Huh? Are you fast enough on this? Are you switching? I can't tell. It doesn't look like it. Are you switching? There you go. Switch again. Switch. Let's be over here now. This one. Are we on that one? I can't tell. I need some lights on here. I thought we were getting lights on the camera. And Undertone was written and directed by Ian, and I'm going to mess his name up. I think it's Ian Tuason. Ian is a Filipino-Canadian, fairly new to the directing game. I think what I read about that guy is, wait, what the heck? This is not charging. I think what I read about Ian is that he did VR horror, and you can find it on YouTube. VR horror, isn't that crazy? Yeah, this is going to, this isn't charging right. Let me pass that off. So he did a bunch of VR horror, and then he wrote this movie called Undertone, and Undertone is really a demonic, I think you could describe it, it has been described as a demonic audio found footage film. And it's the audio, it's not footage, it's a demonic audio found film. Because it's about a podcast that deals with the supernatural, and as they're dealing with these tapes that get sent to the podcast, creepy shit starts happening, boy. Creepy stuff starts happening to one of the podcast hosts, and we get to see it. What I found amazing about this movie was the use of negative space. So you would be seeing something, here, let me pass this off. You would be seeing something on the screen, and they would have it framed up to where the actress is like center right of the screen. And then on the left side, there's also like, you know, a darkly lit stairwell. And you, as a horror fan, you know, like, oh gosh, is something going to come down that stairwell? Is something going to come around the corner? Because the way it was framed up made you think that was going to happen. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. And I love that shit because it really just keeps you on your toes. I didn't, read anything going into the movie at all. I didn't know it was a micro budget film. This film was produced for $500,000. I didn't know that. And honestly, I couldn't tell. Production value was good. So then I went in and started to read about it after I saw the movie, because I really did enjoy the movie. I thought it was great. I'm not going to spoil it at all, but one of the things that's crazy is this movie, I really do generally feel creates a sense of unease throughout the majority of it. And it has scary moments and zero gore. Zero gore. A little poop. A little poop. A little poop. But no gore. See how I'm on this camera now? Yes, there we go. We have to get faster on the camera game, boy. A little poop, but no gore. I think I said poop way too many times. Oh my gosh. Oh, hello, chat. We got Sludge Pirate in there. Where'd you get that name, Sludge Pirate? That's interesting. So anyway, I started to read about this movie after I saw it, and the director who also wrote the film filmed it in the house I think he grew up in, and for sure it was the house that his parents died in. He cared for his dying parents in this house, and in the movie, the main actress is providing palliative care to her mother. Her mother is dying upstairs and she's doing the podcast downstairs. And the house is like filled with religious icons, you know, statues of Mary and pictures of Jesus and whatnot. And I've always thought that stuff was scary. Any type of, especially Catholicism and horror, it's scary. Like that always gets me a little. It's maybe because I grew up Catholic, but I do like that stuff. And so there was a lot of religious iconography in this movie. It was super cool. But how cool is it that he filmed it in the house he grew up in? And it looks great. I remember thinking, wow, the house is pretty creepy, but it's got a really cool stairwell. It's got a great use of space. So kudos to Ian Towson, if that's how you say his name. It's Tauson, but I don't think it's Towson. I think it's Towson. Towson. Anyway, I looked it up, and that's what I'm saying. $500,000 to produce this film, and it has so far made $9.3 million. What the fuck? That's amazing. 9.3 million on a 500,000. 500,000 is a micro budget. It's tiny. Big studio films don't make anything like under 2 million. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to look it up because it's just going to depress me. But The Bride that I spoke about, I think last episode, they spent millions and millions on that movie, and I think it's losing money. Poor Maggie Gyllenhaal, buddy. That just didn't fare well for her. I go see The Bride. If you don't want to see it in the theater, you want to see it later, that's fine. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was good in the first half, and then it got a little stinky, but that's all right. And I looked up an article about Ian Towson and this movie. And again, it's a found audio film. They find like demonic audio, and the audio causes things to happen, right? I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want to spoil it. But what Ian says is, I think audio is the most important element of a horror film, more important than picture. Whatever you can imagine is always going to be scarier than what I can show you. And I have to agree on that in a sense. In one, I've been to a lot of film festivals for indie films, and the thing that will take me out of a film faster than anything. Oh, hey, Napalm OJ. The thing that'll take me out of a horror movie or any movie faster than anything is bad audio. If you have bad audio in your film, I'm not going to watch it. I just can't. Invest a little bit in some decent audio and some sound mixing or something like that. Make sure you have a little bit of money to figure out how to do that. If there's dialogue, make sure you have somebody who knows how to do that, okay? If it sounds and things you can edit and post, that's a different story. But sound is super important, and you will notice it when it's bad. You will. And it's not gonna be bad sound in most movies in the theater because they wouldn't get to the theater if the sound was bad. But at these indie horror festivals, boy, I have seen some doozies. What the hell am I doing here? See, this is why you can't look in the camera to fix your hair. Hang on. Oh my God. We're going to clip this. I'll tell you that right now. What is happening? Where's my mirror? Okay. Gosh, this is why you have to watch the podcast and not just listen to it. Oh my Lord. Okay, that's crazy. All right. The other thing about that quote from Ian is the part where he says, whatever you can imagine is always going to be scarier than what I can show you. And Tobe Hooper understood that, and he employed that in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You don't see a lot of the kills to completion. A lot of the kills happen off screen. The famous scene where you see the girl getting placed on that meat hook, you don't see it, actually. It's implied. And then your brain fills it in. And then you go home and you tell your friends that Leatherface puts this girl on a meat hook and it goes through her torso and out her spine, and it's so gross. but you didn't actually see that. Your brain just filled it in. Isn't that awesome? And you can say the same thing, I think, about leaving something to the imagination with sex appeal, right? How about this camera right now? I got something to say. If you're on OnlyFans, you're going to eventually show your beehole. And there's nothing to the imagination left if you're showing your chocolate starfish. Nothing left. And then what are you? Leave something to the... How about you just leave your beehole to the imagination and don't show that? God bless kids these days. I don't understand. Sludge Pirate says, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, awesome movie. The original, of course. He says, yes, great. My buddy, who does Horror Web Presents Scare Scream Theater with me, met... David Garcia Blue or David Blue Garcia, I can't remember. He was the one that directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one that was done, I think, in 2017. That was done for Netflix. And I'm going to try to get him out to Scare Scream Theater. He lives in Austin. Maybe he would do the podcast. Somebody look up his name and tell me what his name is. Who directed, or you could look it up, who directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think it was 2017. Check it out. Let me know. Somebody let me know because we need to find out. Let's look at Rotten Tomatoes for Undertone, okay? Let's check it out. And go to this camera, please. Okay, the tomato meter, that's the critics' reviews, I believe, is 73% for this movie. And the popcorn meter, which is... I think the audience reviews it's only 52%. You know why? I bet it's because it's a slow burn. Not as slow as like The Witch, but it's a slow burn. But I am telling you, I enjoyed just about every frame of that movie. But I like movies and I like making movies. So I don't know. It was very fun for me to watch. Let's just check out a few reviews, shall we? Okay. This dude Coleman for Salon.com said, minimalism and maximalism can't coexist, at least not here. Instead, Undertone is like getting the climactic moment of your favorite horror podcast, only to have the terrifying impetus interrupted by oh man, I'm gonna have to go to a full review. Listen, Colin, I'm not into that at all. So I don't want to read. See, listen, Rotten Tomatoes, I don't want to read a full review. Give me the quips. Let's see here. If Rotten Tomatoes is going to listen to me. Last week, I was able to check out just the little. Here we go. Let's just see audience reviews for now. David G only gives it 2 stars. Pretty slow going. Kept waiting for something to happen, and then it didn't. But it did, David. It happened at the end, David. God, were you not paying attention? James gives it half a star. James. I would love to know what kind of movies you like. What would you give 3 stars to, James? Half a star, James said it felt more like a PG-13 movie. Ending is very confusing and dumb. Expected more from it, but it doesn't show much. Oh, Mark A gives it 4 stars. Thank you, Mark A. He says, while the ending kind of got on my nerves, overall, I'd recommend. Haven't been that tense watching a movie since the second Paranormal Activity. Oh, speaking of, I believe Ian Twasson has been tapped to direct the next Paranormal Activity. I think I heard that. Maybe I dreamt it, but I think I heard that. So that's cool. Yeah, I will say the ending of the movie, it didn't get on my nerves, but I was kind of hoping for something to happen a little bit more, and it didn't, but I wasn't mad at it. I just was like, it's like if you're trying to get a splinter out for a long time and it finally comes out, but it leaves just a little sliver back in there. It's a little bit like that. The ending of that movie. Raul says, He gives it 4.5 stars. Very atmospheric and great use of sound design. The pacing was great and built the tension well, left some questions in the end, but overall a solid movie. I would agree. And this one, 5 stars. I rank this film with The Exorcist in terms of scariness, what true horror films should be, spooky and well told. Another 5-star from Marcus says, just what I wanted from a scary movie. Let's see. Katie Walsh, 3 out of 4. Twasson conducts Undertone to a fever pitch, a maelstrom of sound and fury that is spookily effective, if frustratingly non-specific. True. And Real Views, James says, by the time the conclusion arrives, we have become numb to the filmmaker's approach, and the expected non-ending feels preordained and unimpactful. I didn't feel frustrated because I had stopped. Oh, this is another one. Okay, sorry. Anticlimactic there. I couldn't read the rest of that. It just went away. Sorry, mouth. Yeah. Anyway, bottom line, I think if you like slow burns, if you like found footage, if you like demonic, religious types of horror, you'll like this. If you like horror movies that are very atmospheric, you'll like this one. The sound design in this movie is wild. It's wild. Sometimes you'll hear things over bing. Sometimes it's bing, bong, pong over there. Sometimes you're like, is that in the left, right, rear of the theater? Is it in the front, center? It's wild how the sound design is for this movie. It makes sense, and it makes a lot of sense because it's a movie about a podcast. Oh, let's see. We got some more comments here. James is a big fan of Everything Everywhere All at Once. James who? Who's James? Was he one of the reviewers? I haven't seen it, obviously, but the premise reminded me of Pontypool. Oh, Pontypool is a great movie. If you haven't seen Pontypool, boy, that one's cool. That one uses, like, if I remember, it was a DJ at a radio station, and it had to do with linguistics and words and stuff. It was very interesting. Undertone had to do with, like, children's nursery rhymes, which is also creepy. Like, London Bridge is creepy. Ring Around the Rosie is really creepy. I think it's about the plague or something like that. Putting flowers in your pocket, so something about so you don't, your dead body and rotten corpse doesn't stink. Good times. Children's fairy tales back in the day, and their songs were actually terrifying. Grimm's fairy tales, that stuff. The Hansel and Gretel. The witch wants to eat the children, which we thought was a fairy tale, but it turns out it's happening. I'm not going to go further on that. Guess what I did last week? I have this friend named Michael, and Michael went to film school. Now, Michael has written a horror short, 5-6 pages. I think it's 6 was the final count. And he sent it to me a long time ago. And I liked it. I thought, oh, this would make a sweet horror short. It's doable. The story moves along. You could do it for almost nothing, but it would be, if done well and right, high impact, And Michael and I, we met at a horror convention, I believe, but we're in a group of friends that will go see different movies together and whatnot. And Michael was kind of, at one point, he went through a little bit of a slump in life, like we all do. And during that time, a little worried you could see. Let me know if you could ever see my nipple, chat. My boobs. Let me know. Anyway, Michael went through a little slump in life, like we all do from time to time. And during that time, I said to him, hey, why don't we make your horror movie? Let's make it. And we started talking about making his horror movie called Five. I want to say that that was at least a year ago, maybe two. And like anyone would be, I think Michael was a little trepidatious maybe at first. I'm going to have Michael on to talk about this because I want to know kind of what all of his thoughts were. But we eventually got our shit together and we got our friend Logan involved. Logan Colossus Presley. What a cool name is that, you know? That's a powerful name. He came on as the DP, and the actress in the movie, we only had one actress. Her name was Indira Starr. I should say her name is Indira Starr. She's still with us. It's not past tense. Our friend Marissa Grimes came on as a PA, but she ended up wearing several hats. She did a little set design. She did a little audio stuff for us. She was there, and we filmed it at my house. I produced the thing, and they came over on a Tuesday. We started cameras up, I think, around 8 o'clock. We had to wait till it got dark. And we filmed for a good 9 hours, 9 hours, maybe a little longer. I don't know. And got it done. So now Michael has it, and he's editing. And I know he's going to be submitting it to film festivals. So I also did a little makeup special effects for that guy. Oh, speaking of that, I forgot to mention, did you know they created the best makeup effects award because they could not. Rick Baker designed a werewolf and designed makeup effects for American Werewolf in London that were so next level. The Oscars couldn't ignore it, so they had to create that category. So you can thank Rick Baker for that. It was next level. I still like watching that transformation. I'll take Rick Baker's werewolf transformation scene in American Werewolf in London over any CGI or AI bullshit. Oh my gosh, you guys, speaking of AI bullshit, I saw they're going to do an AI movie with AI ass Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's dead. And apparently his family has somehow given permission to the filmmakers to do an AI generated Val Kilmer to be in a movie. Apparently Val Kilmer had signed up to be in a movie before he died. And then he died. And now the family's like, oh, you could just do AI Val Kilmer. And it's not like they're doing a little AI zhuzhing of the footage that he already created. He hasn't done anything in the movie. They're doing the whole thing AI. Stop that. What are y'all doing with this? Come on. Please, I beg of you, first of all, if and when I die, don't AI do me up in any fucking thing. I don't want to be AI'd into anything. Let me die. Just look at what I have done. Don't make me do weird shit. I've been seeing those videos on the interwebs where it's that scene from that movie. Now I'm not going to remember it, but you know where they get stuck in a Target or something, and you got the girl on the horse thing that you put a quarter in, and it's squeaking, and they keep AI generating different actresses to put on that. That's creepy. Don't do that. Tony says Rick Baker's the best. Tony, you're right. I know, like, movies use AI, right? Just about any and every movie now uses AI for all sorts of stuff, for sound and for getting effects to do the right things, for as a tool for color. They use it as a tool for this, that, and the other. That's one way, and that's fine. I'm cool with it. But generative AI to make a whole ass person as an actor in a movie is gross to me. And it's ridiculous. And what are we doing? What are you even doing? I want to see real shit. I want to see real shit, real set, real people. I mean, not real shit, literally. Not real shit, literally. Sludge pirate, go see Pawnee Pool. I'm looking at the chat right now. Okay. What do we have next? Oh, I'm going to, by the way, I saw Undertone at the Alamo Dang Draft House, my arch nemesis, but I have a season pass, so I'm using it up until it's used up. And let me say something. I had to redeem a voucher for a free appetizer. And in the app, it says, go to the front desk for help. So I went in, and usually there used to be somebody at the front desk to greet you, and there's not anymore. It's a big red button, and it says, press here if you need help. And there's nobody at the counter anymore. And I waited 10 minutes, and I'm not even exaggerating. I timed it 10 minutes for some dude to come around the corner. And I wasn't even mad at him because it's not his fault. It's Michael Custerman's fault, the CEO of Alamo, who's sucking it dry. The vampire of the Alamo, sucking it dry of its life force and everything that was cool about it. Michael Custerman's fault, allegedly, in my opinion. So we waited 10 minutes, and this guy printed the voucher, and then I asked how I could use the voucher with the app to order a free appetizer, and he didn't even really know. And he was like, you're going to have to navigate in the app and ask for help in the app, because you go in there now, and there's no paper or pen at all anymore. It's all app. So I get in there and I do the QR code and I find where I'm supposed to ask for help. And this is before the movie, so I'm okay with it. A lady comes out. I asked her, what can I do with this voucher? She helps me. It's a whole thing. I don't want to get too into it. But what I do want to say is they forgot to bring out my food. And I couldn't raise a card because there's no cards. I couldn't press that help button on the table that lights up because they've disabled it. So I had to open my dang phone and scroll navigate to the QR code thing again and find the help section. And then when you're in the help section, there's a drop down menu and you have to pick what kind of help it is you need. And then after you do that, you have to type in what's going on. All of this while I'm trying to watch god dang Undertone, taking me out of the movie. That makes in between my toes itch. That makes me so mad. I almost asked for a damn movie ticket refund. I was so pissed. And they were still trying to charge me in the app for my free appetizer. So I just was like, let it go. Give it over to Satan or whatever. And then after the movie, I'll figure it out with these people. So the movie ends and they texted me my bill you have to pay. By the way, if you don't pay your bill within 20 minutes, it's like 20%. They put 20% on there. And by the way, did you know that 18% service fee, that's not a tip. That does 18, you're not tipping your server 18%. That is money that goes into the pool of monies that Alamo uses to pay their employees. It's not really a tip, just so you know. Anywho's, and what are they getting tipped for? Running out my food? I'll tip them, but why don't y'all pay them a freaking livable wage? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Anyways, they ended up comping me for my appetizer was free, and I had a soda that I was expecting to pay for, but they ended up comping me because they knew they messed up so bad. So Alamo's really screwing up, and I'm going to go again because I'm a slut for gluttony and no, that's not what I meant, but that's true too. A slut for punishment. So I'm going next week with my friend, Donnie. We're going to go see Ready or Not 2. And I'll let you know how that is next week on the Screamcast. And I'll also let you know how bad Alamo screws up this week because I do not expect them to do much better of a job. I need to go to Flicks, man. I need to check out Flicks Brew House. But like I said, with that season pass, I've already paid the fee. I've already paid for this whole year. And I get X amount of free movies. So I really don't want to go pay for a movie ticket somewhere else right now until I've used up the season pass. You know what I'm saying? Tony says, are they going to put Paul Walker in the new movie with Val Kilmer too? I hope not, Tony. Dang. I don't want to see any AI people. Do you remember years ago when they were making holograms? They made like a hologram 2-pack. Herman? or Gomez, and one of those dogs is back there scratching his ears. People freaked out about that, and that was just like a hologram that they put at a concert or something. People were pissed at that. This is a whole ass, AI actor that was a real person at some point. That's gross. That grosses me out. Oh, I forgot. I have a question. Okay, let's put up the hotline number. Watch that. You want me to do it? Oh, okay. Call me on Scara's Scary Hotline at 512-710-8766 and let me know what is the scariest horror movie you have seen so far in 2026. The scariest or maybe just your favorite horror movie. 512-710-8766. Let me know what the scariest horror movie of 2026 is so far. If you don't want to call because you're a little shy, are you a millennial, first of all? If you don't want to call because you're a little shy, comment below, okay? That's fine. I like comments too. Speaking of comments, before I wrap up, I have one. I want to show. Somebody texted the hotline with something. That was a first. Normally people leave me a message, voicemail, but somebody texted and they said, "Hello, Wonder, are you planning to do a live podcast in Houston for Houston Horror Film Fest? That would be great, and you could bring people to join. I would love to be on your podcast, but I live in South Texas, and I have family in Austin," and blah, blah. He goes on, but he says he'll be in Houston in August at the film festival, and he'd love to join the podcast. And he goes on and on and on. Now, what's your name? Nick. Nick says we met in Houston. Hello, Nick. I would love to. I am toying with the idea of at Texas Frightmare Weekend in May and at Houston Horror Film Fest, especially at Houston Horror Film Fest, because everybody's in the same hotel in August, of being able to do the Screamcast there. I don't know if we would be able to do it live or if it would be pre-recorded, but I am hopefully going to do that. I'm looking into that currently. So, Nick, if I do and I'm able to do it, come on by. Pop on the podcast for a few minutes or whatever. Depends on how many people we have coming by. But sure, Nick, come on over. Get on over here. Have you noticed my Texas accent has gotten a little thicker? It's because right now I'm driving a gigantic Chevy Silverado because somebody ran into my car and the rental company's out of cars because it's South by Southwest and the rodeo, and there's a partial government shutdown, and the legislature can't leave or something. I don't know. Anyway, there's a car shortage, and so they all they had were these big ass trucks. So I got myself a Chevy Silverado, and when I'm in it driving around, it makes me really tall, and I feel real big, and I like that. But I also feel like I'm back in West Texas a little bit. I feel like I'm about to get up in that dually and go, even though it's not a dually. It's a Chevy Silverado. Hey. Oh, man, this battery is 5% remaining. You keep thinking you charging this thing. You're not charging nothing, boy. You're not charging anything over here, but we're about to done anyway. Sludge Pirate says, are you coming anywhere close to North Carolina? Maybe a horror festival there. Not yet. Well, it is my hope, Sludge Pirate. It's my hope, Sludge Pirate. Sludge Pirate, it's my hope that one day this podcast, it's not my hope, it's actually my prediction. This is what's going to happen. Let me just tell you, Sludge Pirate, this is what's going to happen. This YouTube channel is going to continue to grow, and it's going to get a really lovely following, and so will the audio podcast. Okay, Sludge Pirate, you still with me? And as that happens, I will be asked to be a guest at various horror conventions across the country. And then I'll show up at somewhere around North Carolina, and I'll meet you, Sludge Pirate, and I'll do the podcast live there, and it'll be awesome. Okay, Sludge Pirate, I just like saying your name. Okay. I think that was a good, decent podcast, fellas. I'd like to thank everyone involved, everyone that was on the chat. We'll see you. Thanks for joining me today. I had to bump it to Friday, but next week I plan on doing it Wednesday, and I plan on having a guest. So tune back in, all right? We'll see ya. I'll talk about Ready or Not To and all sorts of other stuff. Until then, my name is Scara, Damsel of the Doomed, and I'll see you in your screams.